Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. The news is live on Joy99.7 FM here in Accra and Kumasi. It's on Love 99.5 FM in over 30 affiliates dotted across Ghana's 16 regions. We are on Radio Y in Wa, ATL FM in Cape Coast, KTU Radio in Koforidua, Radio Max in Takrade, Lonlonyo FM in Hohoi. We are also on Jubilee Radio in Keta. And you can go digital. It's on Spotify, Facebook, and myjoyonline.com. This afternoon, Ghana Statistical Service defends its latest corruption prevalence survey, despite the criticism by the IGP, who says the recent minority in Parliament alleged 100% inflation of contract to construct a twin tower office space for the Bulk Oil Storage Company Limited.
And so a single unit, which would have originally costed us about $19 million in 2017, has now ballooned and metamorphosized into $39 million.
We have details as they urge the president to set up an independent body to probe the matter. And ahead of Parliament's debate and final decision on the fate of Dom Kwabenya MP Sarah Adwoasafo, we'll hear the views of her constituents on the majority's recommendation to have a seat declared vacant.
Imagine next time you other person ever.
They should just give her some time.
I was so to Adwoasafo if you so.
This afternoon, we are live in Dom Kwabenya. Also in the bulletin, imagine being refused health care after delivering a premature baby at home and walking to the nearest clinic with the umbilical cord still uncut.
He said, I don't come for antenatal here. And I was like, it was an emergency. Just check the baby, cut the cord. Hey, I should pay this. I have to buy this. And then do that. And after all, they didn't even check the baby. They just left her there and then left me there.
We hear horrifying stories shared on the Super Morning Show on healthcare service standards in Ghana. We have sports.
Well, Ghana is close to having a full house of athletes in Birmingham for the Commonwealth Games. And in 20 minutes, we'll let you in on the names joining Ghana's camp.
And later, haunted at home and wanted at work. We'll tell you how truck drivers in Accra are now slipping out of home at dawn to avoid paying housekeeping money.
My kids are always pursuing me for money, so I wake up very early to avoid meeting them. Even this morning, they confronted me.
That's coming up in our Living Standard series. That and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa. Apawu, please stay for details. Many thanks for choosing us. This afternoon, the Ghana Statistical Service has mounted a strong defense of its latest corruption prevalence survey, which ranked the Ghana Police Service as the most corrupt public institution in the country. This follows an outright rejection of the findings of the survey by the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Ekufu-Dampare. He described the research as being heavily challenged and corrupted. In a 5-page statement, the IGP said there is a high risk that the research may have been affected by a long-held stereotype against the police. My colleague Manuel Crantin joins me in studio with more on that particular statement from the police. Well, Manuel, what were the key concerns, first off, of the police administration?
So, Emefa, in all, the police service raised 14 concerns. According to the statement, the key ones, the use of selective ranking by the Ghana Statistical Service, which actually was a technical lead on this particular survey. Also, it says that research failed to capture other public institutions, at least 13 of them, including Shraj and Ghana Statistical Service itself, which undertook the research. It also mentioned a disaggregation in certain public institutions having the tendency to affect weighting in ranking. It mentions the Ghana Revenue Authority, which had been disaggregated into the customs offices and then the tax offices. And the Ghana Health Service, it mentions the doctors and nurses plus other health workers.
Well, the IGP also made some demands of the researchers.
Yes, indeed, Emefa. So the IGP says that using your contacts, and here referring to the Ghana Statistical Service, and value-based ranking method for your analysis, we would like a regional, monthly, and departmental breakdown of your findings for the police service to enable it pinpoint where the issues are and tackle them. We'll also, he says that we also did not see any specific recommendation in the report, and we find it surprising that a major research like this did not offer any recommendations and solutions.
And the IGP has a conclusion on this matter.
Indeed, it says that in view of all of the issues that it raised in a statement, it is the considered view of himself and indeed the Ghana Police Service that the research and its findings are heavily challenged and corrupted from both the academic and practice point of view. It ends by saying, we want to place on record that we are passionate about this because the continuous empirically and scientifically unsubstantiated labeling of the police service as the most corrupt institution in the country only goes to feed this perception and damage the reputation of the service as well as weaken the morale of its personnel. And as we have all now come to accept, perception tends to be more powerful than reality, and therefore we have no choice than to share our position on this matter. And signed by George Akufu Dampare, Dr. Inspector General of Police.
Well, we'll be hearing from the Ghana Statistical Service shortly as they defend their work. But Manuel, you've been working your sources in the Statistical Service. Has there been an official communication from the IGP to the Statistical Service on this matter?
Indeed, Emefa, on this letter, which is actually dated July 27, the list of distribution includes the Ghana Statistical Service, firstly, the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, and the Public Affairs Department of the Ghana Police Service. My checks, however, especially at the Ghana Statistical Service, reveals that there's not been an official communication of this content just yet to the office.
And we're yet to hear from Shraj and the other agency on this particular survey. Thank you very much, Manuel. But the Statistical Service, like I said, they've been mounting a strong defense of this research, insisting the methodology employed meets all international standards. Anthony Amuzu-Faring is Director of Social and Demographic Statistics at the GSS.
So for now, in terms of methodology, I don't see where there is any crack in it. It's a strong and solid methodology, proving over the world, well tested. So it's not like because we left out an institution, then there's a crack in the methodology. These, what we call lecturers or whatever, are they not from an institution? They are looking at our target is an institutional level, and we can decide to choose which group of the institutions we want to use to represent that. If maybe this is it, and say, why don't you look at the other grouping as well? Can be another research. Maybe why this or whatever.
Well, there's a question about why you didn't even attempt to get responses from these institutions, for want of better expressions, that were implicated or indicted in this particular research that
this is a household survey. This is completely the perception and the experiences of a household. So whether what the household is telling us or right, the assumptions that we are taking what the household are saying, that's right. That is the assumption when we go for household survey. If I come to you and ask you, what is your age? And for instance, you are 45 and you tell me 28, and I have no verification. But the assumption is that you are telling me the truth.
That's Anthony Amuzu-Faring, the Director of Social and Demographic Statistics at the Ghana Statistical Service. But even before these concerns are addressed by the researchers, the Ghana Police Service says its men and women may only be corrupt because of advances by members of the public. Here's Deputy Director General in charge of Private Services Organization, DCOP Kojo Entry Tebi.
The members of the public too must be blamed for the accusation that they are making. They are also equally guilty because if you don't give the police money, he cannot take it from your pocket. If you commit an offense and the police want to charge you for court, you have to allow yourself to go through the due process. Because at times, even when you go to court, the offense may not attract a serious fine. But when you tempt the police with money, when you don't want to go to court, then you are giving the police chance, an unscrupulous policeman, chance to demand any amount of money because you are not willing to allow yourself to go to court.
But as the public accept this blame, listen to some of your views.
Well, I do not believe we have a part to play in we making them unpopular or making them the most corrupt institution in the country because they have standards. And it is up to them to uphold their standards that every point in time they make sure that the law is working.
The police is corrupt, and we Ghanaians makes them corrupt also, in the sense that when you are stopped by a police officer, he has charged you for overspeeding, fault with your car and all that. Some don't take the bribe, some do.
Some Ghanaians incite police to act in a corrupt way. For example, a driver will go wrong on the road. It could be no license or driving on the shoulders and get stopped by the police. The first instinct of the driver is to offer something to the police and go scot-free.
Most times it's the Ghanaian community that do offer these bribes and everything to them and make them also take it. I mean, they don't force it on them though, but practical examples are when we take long journeys from Accra to Takoradi, Accra to Cape, because you are in these cars and these drivers have overloaded or they've done something wrong and they know they need to face the law. They will offer monies to the policemen.
Some of your views there by the police. Now, this afternoon, the minority is alleging government has padded the contract sum meant to construct an office space for the Bulk Oil Storage Company Limited. The contract, according to ranking member on the Mines and Energy Committee, Joy99.7FM, which was signed under the Eswell Mahama administration at $39 million, has now been inflated to $78 million by the current administration.
The board of BOST decided that they will procure only one single unit. They wrote to the Minister of Finance and had a response from the Deputy Minister, John Kuma, granting them approval to procure that single unit at $24 million. If you look at the old amount, it should have been 19.5. So it went to 24. And so BOST applied to the Public Procurement Authority for approval. To our utmost shock and dismay, in granting the approval, the Public Procurement Authority then increased the amount from 24 million to $39 million. And so a single unit, which would have originally costed us about $19 million in 2017, has now ballooned and metamorphosized into $39 million. What it means is that when you account for the two buildings, it will cost us a colossal $78 million. So this project has inflated, been padded from the original 39. Now the two would cost $78 million. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a clear case of causing financial loss to the state.
Parliamentary correspondent Kweku Asante was at that press conference. He joins us on the line. Kweku, the minority has described BOST as a corruption cash cow for government. Did they provide further details?
Well, for the minority are yet to provide evidence. Indeed, after the press conference, I pressed in terms of the documentation that backs the claim that they have made. Once they had the documentation while making the press conference, they have not been able to give that to the media yet. Indeed, Joy99.7FM has assured that he will provide me with the document that he used to make the press conference. But as of now, they haven't provided any evidence to back the specific claims that they have made.
Well, we'll definitely follow up on that. But did the minority give BOST a hearing on the matter before going public?
Well, so according to the minority, the Mines and Energy Committee have been trying to meet BOST to explain to them why they inflated the amount in their words. But because Parliament is set to go on break today, they have not been successful. We've been asking why they've decided to go to town before they can meet BOST leadership and have a conversation. They have not provided answers to that yet. But so far, BOST has not provided a response to the minority of the committee.
And they want an investigation, but it has to come from the presidency. Why?
So according to Joy99.7FM, the President of the Republic must take particular interest in this because inflating the contract sum by another $39 million will cause financial loss to the state. They want the President to set up an independent investigation committee to look into the matter.
Well, I must add, Kweku, that whilst you're working, the lines from Parliament to reach BOST, we've also been doing same here. It's been unsuccessful, and as and when we do, we'll get to hear from BOST on this. But what else is on the table in Parliament as they prepare to rise?
So Parliament has just approved a $1.3 billion facility for cocoa board to get loans on the international market to buy cocoa beans. Finally, before Parliament rise, we are expecting that they will take the issues regarding Sarah Joasafo. There are no indications whether this will be taken today, but knowing how Parliament works, sometimes they can provide an order paper addendum and decide to take that matters regarding the 3 MPs.
That's a parliamentary correspondent, Kwekwa Sante, and he ended on the Dom Kwabenya MP, Sarah Joasafo note. He's been putting together a report on the work done so far by the Privileges Committee.
The report of the committee, which was laid in Parliament on Monday, details the explanation offered by Henry Korte and Kennedy Ajapon, which has been deemed satisfactory by the majority MPs on the Privileges Committee. The 2 MPs claim that they were seriously ill and flew out of the country to seek medical care. Indeed, in the case of Ayawaso Central MP Henry Korte, the Speaker authorized his medical travel and Parliament as an institution footed the bill for his medical care. The minority on the committee fought the clearance of these 2 MPs, but by a majority decision, the committee voted to pardon them and allow them to continue their duties as members of Parliament. On Dom Kwabenya MP Sarah Joasafo, however, her fate hangs in the balance, with her NPP colleagues insistent on declaring her seat vacant, whilst surprisingly, the opposition NDC MPs fight for her. The majority on the committee contends that the onus is on the MP to appear and offer an explanation, and failing to take the opportunities and facilities afforded her by the committee makes it imperative that the seat is declared vacant automatically. The report has not been debated yet and the decision taken, but with Parliament set to go on break later today, it will be interesting to see what happens and if Sarah Joasafo will continue to hold her seat.
Well, ranking member on the committee, George Kwekuriket-Hagan, says his side will be fighting that majority recommendation. But let's head to Dom Kwabenya now, because her constituents have been commenting on the report. Michael Papani Ashale is there. He joins us on the line. So what is dominating opinion there in Dom Kwabenya?
Well, some of them have been following the conversations in Parliament, some of the response. The one that came through Joy. They're so divided over whether the recommendation of the committee should be adopted or she should be given some more time. And also take the gender division. The women seem to side with, let's give her some time, she wants to do something important to herself. And then the men say, well, we've given you enough time to respond and you haven't been able to. You can listen to them.
Okay, I think they should give her some time. But maybe it's because she's having a tangible reason for not attending the meeting or not responding to the calls. So they should just give her some time.
How much time are we talking about here?
Okay, I don't have a particular time, but I think maybe 4 or 5 months it's okay.
Oh, well, I don't want to be frank. Yet to Obama and say, one conco pre impuntu maya or hasi. By Okoyano, you hushe. It's me mum dear, me margin dear. Next time you know, or saki you tuni fruits na other person ever. Because you here, I draw a happy parliament. And untina, maybe me free say, you tuni fruits wa a mammy.
I was so to address a fire there. If you so, a man and black out. No me can try and say na address a fire there. Aye. And see more to Abaman or deserve was say you tuni for swana.
Some views from Dom Kwabenya. You heard earlier my colleague Michael Papani Ashale, still in that constituency. But let's turn our attention to health now. And imagine being refused health care after delivering a premature baby at home during lockdown and walking to the nearest polyclinic with the umbilical cord still uncut. This is just one of the horrifying stories shared by listeners on Joy FM Super Morning Show who called to contribute on the topic of healthcare service standards in Ghana. Just listen to this.
Somewhere 2010, I was pregnant, and around 8 months, the baby had to come. And then I went into labor a day after lockdown, so there was no vehicle. So I had to deliver in the house. My mom was around. Polyclinic around our place. We can walk there so that they check the child. Since she's 8 months, when we went the next day, and the midwife they got angry. They said, I don't come for antenatal here. And I was like, it was an emergency. Just check the baby, check myself, cut the cord and everything. It took us like 1 hour. I should pay this, I have to buy this, and then do that. And after all, they didn't even check the baby. They didn't bath or clean her. They just left her there. and then left me there.
My experience is with Pema General Hospital. I'm a taxi driver. We the taxis, they normally use us as ambulance. I rush a patient to the Pema General Hospital. We park at the OPD. We call on them for emergency.
Some views there of callers into the Super Morning Show by discussing the same topic. The immediate past president of Society of Private Medical and Dental Practitioners, Dr. Isaac Morrison, called for stronger systems of accountability.
We wish that anybody reporting to any health facility in Ghana can expect a basic standard of care that is not based on who you meet or who you are. You should expect some standard, and that is the whole aim of this public lecture. As you listen to, if you know someone, or you are known, or you are important, then you are likely to get a good care. We don't want that. We wish, because we all ourselves can be patient at any time. The teaching has always been, in the case of an emergency, we have what we call resuscitation. Resuscitation can always go alongside initial details of the patient. Yes, the details are very important because they tell us what you can do and what you cannot do. Some patients may see this as time wasting, but we have always taught students and clinicians that do not waste unnecessary time.
That's Dr. Titus Bayo instead. He's the Vice President of the Ghana Medical Association. General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association, I beg your pardon. Well, the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Pakwesi Bedu, is calling on the public to pile pressure on their members of parliament and government to complete stalled hospital projects there, referencing a recent protest against the MP for Swami, Osechi Mensabonsu. Dr. Bedu said that action proved effective in getting the Macro and Swami roads fixed. Nana Ojima has more.
6 hospital projects under construction in the region have missed their completion dates for about 4 years. This has further compounded the poor healthcare delivery to the people of the region. Dr. Pakwesi Bedu reveals the inadequate space together with logistical constraints is denying the people of the region the basic rights to quality healthcare. But he admits the people are not angry enough.
Just like happened at Kwabe, I think it's the best thing that has happened to Ashanti region. That small demonstration, they can pin any spin on it. People in Ashanti region now get up, and I am encouraging them to do it through your medium and tell all the MPs in the region that look, they should not step foot in the region until Kumasi South, the regional hospital, is completed and is operationalized. Until Afari is completed and operationalized. I'm telling you, by the end of the year, these facilities will be completed.
That's Dr. Bedu ending that report. This is the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. We'll take a quick break. Stories we've been looking at so far. Ghana Statistical Service has been defending its latest corruption prevalence survey despite the criticism by the IGP, who says the research is heavily challenged and corrupted. When we return from the break, the NPP says it is not the least trusted institution in the country. We'll take you live. Then also we have sport, and then haunted at home and wanted at work. We'll tell you how truck drivers in Accra are now slipping out of home at dawn to avoid paying housekeeping money.
My kids are always pursuing me for money, so I wake up very early to avoid meeting them. Even this morning, they confronted me.
Yema Wakwaba, ba Akwaba Magic Busia, brand new channel, Tia Roba, Emuno Chiao, Ewo DSTV channel 149, and Go TV channel 108. Enianom Akwaba Magic Busia, Eddie Nidia Ghanaian programs mu Baufi, Ebit said to have and to hold, and Yom Senior Cassia, series and a talk show, Bemo Wakao TV sets Nichi, Akwaba Magic Busia, Ewo DSTV access to your 50 Ghana cedis per and Go TV value to your 25 Ghana cedis per Ebusia Akwaba.
Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News. Let's do sports. Razak, what do we have?
Well, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Athletics Association has been speaking, and he's been denying claims that some athletes have failed to receive their visas, for which reason some of them will not appear in Birmingham. But he says that the association has been facilitating all things to ensure that the team arrives and participates in the event, which kicks off tonight.
Paul and Latifa and Deborah are still waiting for their visa applications. They are still within the 15 working days to get their visas. and today is the 15th day. So we are just waiting for them to receive their visas. I repeat, no Ghanaian athletes has been refused visa. The three ladies, Ho Halute, Latifa Ali, and Deborah, are still waiting for their visas to arrive. No information has come from the consulate or from the embassy in the US here to indicate that one or other athletes have been denied.
So that was Bawa Hussaini, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Athletics Association. So, Emefa, the Commonwealth Games 2022 will kick off tonight in Birmingham. The opening ceremony is going to be wonderful. So, hopefully, stay tuned to your TV sets. You might find it there. For more sports, head to myjoyonline.com/sports.
Thank you very much, Razak. And now they are haunted at home and wanted at work in one of the many fallouts of the rising cost of fuel and the current economic crunch in the country. Truck drivers in Accra are now slipping out of home at dawn. They are doing this to avoid paying housekeeping money. Manuel Cranting speaks to some of them for our latest edition of the Joy Living Standard series.
And your money in a form. Was a diesel form, I mean, for carrying you will be about 1,000 and then 2,000.
Those say himself July, I Kita, but this July, where the Kita Unsa, anyway, they are Chicha Unsa. Yeah, brother. Bahamas, ye Pia, ye never big a crack. First, no, dear.
Grumbles and lamentations. It's Monday morning, but in a sharp contrast to what it used to be, the Awoshi Bayard Sand and Stone Station does not look busy. The loading boys stand idle and the truck drivers play drafts to while away time. This has been the scene here for months now.
The works are not coming. The boys are there. The money that they have been getting is not sufficient. So if they get it today, hand to mouth.
In just 6 months, the price of an essential input for the truck business, diesel, has almost doubled, selling now at 11 cedis 30 pesos, up from 6 cedis 70 pesos in January 2022. This has made it near impossible for the drivers to meet their targets.
For now,
the recent 30 pesos for reduction is just a scratch on the surface. The car owners will just take their cars from us. My truck has been taken. We can work the whole month only to run into debt.
For hours, these truck drivers stand around here waiting for patrons who really never come, or when they do, cannot even afford the cost of the materials.
Yes. If only I know that you don't have a car and you are working, I can give you some spare to go and come. Not that I will go and work, then I should try and give you something. Okay. I'll give you the spare.
After 36 years of driving his truck, Seth Abose now sneaks out of his home at dawn. He does this to avoid confrontations with his wife and children over housekeeping money.
This is a trouble.
My kids are always pursuing me for money, so I wake up very early to avoid meeting them. Even this morning, they confronted me. I managed to settle 2 out of the 3.
That's our Living Standard series for today. The full version will air on Newsnight, also on the Joy News channel and all our social media platforms. And just before we go, we know that the Afrobarometer report placed the NPP as the least trusted institution in Ghana, with the Ghana Armed Forces placing first as the most trusted. Well, the NPP has been reacting. Listen to the General Secretary of the party.
Well, basically, I'm not in the position to doubt it, but even let's assume that it is true. We share the sentiments of Ghanaians. We all know we are not in normal times. We all know of the situation that we find ourselves in. And normally when you have challenges, the confidence will go down. When the opportunities are there, confidence also go high. So I know once we are able to reform and transform the economy, definitely confidence will go up again. Thank you very much.
And that's how we wrap up today's edition of the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. This evening on PM Express, you want to catch Ken Oforiatta, Finance Minister, with George Riafe for PM Business Edition. We are talking about stabilizing the economy post-media reviews at 9 p.m. on the Joy News channel. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otabil is up next. I am Emefa Apawu. Have a good afternoon.
Isn't life wonderful when everything worth doing is scheduled? Hitting the stop button on your alarm just in time for your morning jog. That happy moment listening to your baby's heartbeat at the doctor's office. Or an arranged virtual meeting with that big client.
Buy airtime ahead of time with scheduled airtime service on MTN Momo. You can schedule your airtime purchase of any